Because it is also possible that the judge may put some restrictions on what we can talk about and indeed what Donald Trump can talk about, because this is, after all, a criminal trial that will need a jury, and what the judge will not want is any part the jury could be prejudiced in all of this, though you'd have to conclude, given who Donald Trump is and the coverage of this trial, that might be nigh impossible.
Yeah, and interesting that you're talking about the effect that social media is having, because he's got his own social media platform. He's already attacked the judge, Juan Merchan, saying the judge hates him because, of course, they've crossed swords previously. And one wonders how that will be played out, even though this is just a plea hearing today.
Yeah, indeed, and he's attacked, of course, the man leading this indictment, Manhattan's district attorney, who, to be fair, was elected as a Democrat, and many feel he was elected simply to try and indict Donald Trump. But you're also right in suggesting, which I think is fascinating, is let's not forget Donald Trump is a New Yorker. He lived here for decades and decades and decades and decades. It's only relatively recently that he's moved to Florida. He will almost certainly know anyone of any major importance in this city, and he is not going to hold back on his opinions of them, as he's not done with any other either leading politician or judge or anyone else in US society in the past. And so this will feel very much like kind of a local boy on trial, if you like. But also, let's make this clear, beyond that initial hearing today of him saying essentially not guilty, and we still don't know whether it's going to be televised or not. I think it's unlikely. Trump's campaigners and his team have been suggesting it shouldn't be, because they fear it's going to turn into a circus. Clearly the broadcasters here in the United States want it to be. But this is a process that is going to drag out for months, possibly years as well, Mark. We're not expecting any speedy conclusion to this. And even when we do get a verdict, it is almost certain that Donald Trump would appeal that verdict if it went against him. Yeah. So the prospect, even if he was found guilty of Donald Trump, ended up in prison at this stage right now on whatever it is, the start of April 2023, is a very, very long way off.
I think we're just getting an update, actually, Darren, on what will be happening in terms of the pictures that we're getting. As you said, there was this application from NBC News in particular to allow access for what they call videographers, photographers, radio journalists and print reporters to the arraignment. Judge Juan Merchan barring the use of all digital devices, including mobile phones and laptops, but cameras will be allowed in the hallway before the arraignment begins. So I think there might be what they call a bit of a bun fight in that hallway before he actually gets into the court building or into the courtroom itself.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, actually, for the last 24 hours or so, members of the public here in New York and indeed journalists have been queuing up, because they are, as you say, going to allow some people into the courthouse. Interesting, as you just revealed, no cameras in court itself. I think Trump's team will be happy with that. It would probably not have looked terribly good with him effectively standing in the dock, if you like. But yes, those journalists will be allowed, some of them, into the courtroom itself, very limited numbers. There's also going to be a spillover room, but some New Yorkers or some US citizens will be allowed to go and watch this pretty historic moment, a moment in which Donald Trump will appear charged with a criminal offence. And we don't know how many charges he's going to face again. We think it's going to be at least one. Well, it's going to be at least one around business fraud, but there have been reports in the US media that it could be up to 30 separate charges. We will only know that charge sheet at around 2:15 local time, 7:15 your time, later on today.
For the moment, Darren, thank you. Back to you, of course, as soon as we hear and see more on what's going to be a busy day there for New York and Manhattan in particular. Thank you very much for that.